Hey, it's time for another update. So I'm going to tell you a story about how $20 in a shovel changed my life and will change your life as well. And then I'll go around the property giving a little update on different projects I've done and showed in the past, how they're coming along, and just an overall growth. It's been a crazy season, freezing cold, wet, 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 raining every single day for a month and a half, and then the last 3 weeks, no rain at all. It just rained last night for the first time in 3 weeks. My whole system, I don't irrigate or water, so what you see is what you get. Um, so come along and have a look at what the resilience of nature can do when you set a system up properly. So 4 years ago, this area looked like this. Just an open lawn, boring lawn. In fact, it was more of an overgrown weed pit. And I started watching Edible Acres on YouTube one day. Came across him because I planted some tomatoes and decided I wanted to take control of where my food source and my food comes from. And it just tastes good, and I noticed it saved me a ton of money. So I got 20 bucks together, a shovel together, and I planted a tree. I'll go show you that first tree. This tree changed my life, changed my land forever. We got a circling hawk, look at this. Looking for some bunnies. Isn't that neat? There didn't used to be bunnies here. Maybe there were a couple, but not like there are now. So my whole land changed after that. 20 bucks and a shovel, and I planted this peach right here. This is the Genesis peach, the peach that started it all. I get comments in my videos all the time, or my Reddit posts all the time. Oh, you must have a ton of land. And I guess 4 acres, 4.5 acres is a ton of land for some people. But what I wanted to show you is that you don't need 4 acres. I bought these 4 acres to plant the whole thing out. I was going to plant the whole entire 4 acres out. I thought I could do that in like a year or two. I can't. I've been planting and planting and planting like my life depends on it. Because in a way, all of our lives depend on planting. But I wanted to answer those people and show you how 20 bucks and a shovel can change your life, can change your land, can change who you are, and I want to take it as far as can even change and save the planet. This one little tree, people say I don't have enough room to do anything. There is so much abundance in and around just this one little tree. Peach tree, comfrey plant, a boulder is thermal mass. I have tomatoes growing up it. I have clover for the bunnies. We have onions. In there's goji berries. There's sea buckthorn, which is the healthiest berry on the planet. More onions, haskcaps, strawberries, asparagus. And I could easily plant some delicious raspberries. Look at this. Beautiful. I could easily plant raspberries all in here. We have currants, apple tree. This strip, this block for the peach alone can go on a front yard in a corner easily. The production that you can get out of a block this big will give you thousands of dollars a year in food. And I'm not even exaggerating. Thousands of dollars a year for maybe about $100 investment total. And you can bring that down by buying younger trees and a little bit of work setting it up right. This strip here can go along a fence line in a backyard easily. And I have overstory trees. A peach, a serviceberry, elderberry is going to be a tall bush, sea buckthorn, more sea buckthorn, apple, elderberries, currants. We got mint, haskaps, Siberian pea shrubs, and all interspaced. You could have this lined out with strawberries. I have it currently King Strophoria mushrooms in most of it, the whole entire swath, because I love mushrooms. We have so many different currants and elderberries. This is a great medicinal black currant. A little more tart and sour, but if you like that, and I do, these are great food. The birds got all of my red currants. But this swath, the amount of life that's come out of my land just from this one little swath here is unbelievable. Changed my life, 100%. And I just started adding more and more and more and more and more because I have a little bit of room. But in this small little area, there are hundreds of trees. Like, not even joking, hundreds of trees. Here's a, you don't even notice that there's a tree here. There's a little serviceberry tree. Pears, asparagus, more pears, even more pears. Sorry, autumn olive here, more pears. We've got blueberries and cherries lined on the edge of this swale. Haskap. We've got linden trees, apple trees. And the idea is that I'll come down here in the future and walk down through this swale, picking asparagus, stopping off to pick some blueberries. And just walk down this. And they'll fill with water in the rain and store in colder water. I can grow melons up the side. We got gooseberries. This is a bit of a nasty little thorny plant. I didn't realize how big the thorns would be. Hard to focus that. Super sharp. But the berries are pretty good in the currant family. And there's so much food in here. I get animals, rabbits, squirrels. We have owls. We have foxes in our lower garden area. The whole entire ecosystem has changed. It really is an ecosystem, and it's just getting started. This is so immature for how it's going to be. And I wanted water feature for birds to get a fish. Got some goldfish in there. But the whole ecosystem changed around here. Foxes down in my lower garden. Bunnies everywhere. Changed my life. I'm eating healthier. I'm outside more. I'm working more. Hauling wood chips. Just got 4 loads of those for free. The amount of carbon sequestration I'm doing. Chopping and dropping comfrey. Look at all this chop and drop. I cut all the flower heads off the comfrey. Laid them all down. They didn't go to seed yet. These ones, actually, the seed are sterile anyways. It's the Balking 14. Chopping and dropping everywhere. Building soil. Soil life. The mushroom life is incredible. Look at that. King Strophoria mushroom mycelia. Holding and tying it all together, breaking the wood chips up. The soil microbiological activity is through the roof. And it changed my life. And for 20 bucks and a shovel, you can get started. Once you get a couple plants, you can start stool layering them. You can start taking cuttings and propagating them. And you can get plants for free. This raspberry patch, I have pulled in probably, I want to say 5 cups a day for 3 weeks, 2 weeks now,
5 cups a day for 2 weeks. This, oh, and it was 6 plants when we started, 6 little canes, 6 tiny canes like this. And look at this, it's just filled right in. In fact, I've been mowing it to keep this as a path. It would be 3 times the size right now if I didn't mow around it. The strawberries started out as 12 little plants. 12 plants spread out. 1 plant here, bunch of bare soil. Another plant there, bunch of bare soil. Look at it now. We were pulling in 20 cups of strawberries a day for 3 weeks. We made, I think, 10 jars of jam. We have frozen bags and bags of frozen strawberries. Food source in the wintertime. We got blackberries down here, absolutely loaded. So as soon as those raspberries give up, blackberry season. And this is how you do it. Lots of different plants, all staggered, so that as one stops, the next one comes. Right after that, we'll have some more blueberries coming. Underneath linden. If we get more trees growing, replacing useless, stupid, dead lawn that just costs us money, costs us water, feeds nobody, you know, at least I let the weeds grow a little bit and I get some flowers for the bees. My neighbors probably hate me. But the food in abundance we can get in our landscaping, if we just choose to resist and be different than what we're taught. We're taught that to be a good neighbor, you have to keep a well-manicured lawn. To be a good neighbor, you have to pick up your leaves. You can't mow them into your lawn. You certainly can't have food growing on your lawn. To be a good neighbor, you should just have this. Useless. This is a good neighbor to me. This is a good citizen of the world to me. And we can save the planet by getting more food growing on trees. The amount of food that I've pulled off these trees that I would have otherwise bought in a store, that would have spent hours and hours and hours and hours on a truck, is unbelievable. And it's not that hard. You mulch well, you set up little automatic water catching systems, you feed in and plant like nature, feed in nitrogen fixers into the system, flowers for the bees, clovers, ground covers, vines, flowers for the pollinating insects, have it all growing up itself. Pack it in tight, turn it into a forest. Nature has been doing it for billions of years and it doesn't need us. You just set it up and the system is so strong that you cannot stop it. I can't stop this system. These permanent earthworks like this swale in here that I walk through, that's there for long term. All these trees are going to flourish on this system. Some of them struggled. This pair struggled because it basically no water. So no filling up of this trench. But it should live, and if it lives, it'll have deep roots. And I get one rainfall to fill that up, and that's all I'll need for the whole season. Very robust systems. You do it right, you design it right, you get thick wood chips, prevent that evaporation. Look how healthy. This is tomatoes flowering and growing with not a drop of water that I've put on in 3 weeks. This thing went from seedling to this without a drop of water. That's robustness and resilience. Wood chips are the secret to all of it. And even though I have so many wood chips, we got 4 of those loads yesterday. I'm exhausted, but that is like tens of thousands of years of stored sunlight converted into carbon chemical bonds to grow food. That carbon that's in those wood chips was in the air. That big pile of carbon there was in the air, floating around as carbon dioxide. The tree sucked it out of the air through photosynthesis, turned it into both exudates, sugars, part of complex organic carbon molecules to attract soil life, turn the rest and store that carbon in its body. And it's sitting here and it's going to feed my system. This is how we sequester carbon. Now it's going to biodegrade and break back down, but it will anyways. In doing so, it's going to create soil. That soil is going to feed life, and it's going to grow the next generation of trees. And it's these young trees that sequester more carbon than the old ones. The old ones are done, and they need to come down to reset the cycle. These new ones are going to grow from the carbon in these wood chips and keep it locked up forever. And that's how we do it. That's how we make it out of this alive, guys. We need more trees. We need more food. We need more carbon getting pulled out of the air. We need more grapes. We need more sea buckthorn. We need more cherries and blueberries. I planted this specifically so people walking by will be able to see that they can do this on their own land. They can get a little food forest established on their own property and get that carbon sequestered and save the planet. It's no less than saving the planet that we're doing here. So enough about that, time for some updates and how you can bring this stuff into your own life. Here's some grapes doing really, really well. I am pruning or trellising these terribly. I have to get better at it. The idea with grapes is you actually want to spend the first year or 2 or even 3 years trellising them up and tying them to a stake and pruning off all growth except for the one main shoot. And you want to basically spend 3 years building a trunk. And after that, all subsequent years will grow off of new wood that spurs off the trunk. So you keep a couple buds, and the new growth will flower and fruit and give you grapes. For now, I kind of messed that up with these ones here. But for now, I'm just jam some trunks in, some cedar branches. It'll do for now. We'll get it growing up this cedar branch, and I will prune it and clean it and set it up properly. I'm a big person, a big believer on wild gardening, letting it grow how nature does. I think I need to start tempering that a little bit with managing ease of use of the system and harvesting. Typically, I will end up with some areas where it's very difficult to get into harvest. The wildlife love it, but for me, it's tough to get into harvest sometimes because I plant so densely. So I need to temper that a little bit. And if you have a smaller space, you want to meticulously design it. Maybe not so much what I do. But when you have a smaller managed space, you can get a ton of productivity out. This is an update on the lily patch. So these daylilies here, if you saw my tidying up the food forest video, I cut these straight back, like right to the ground. And I left a couple flower heads of these Comfrey. Let me just pan out. I have Comfrey. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're feeding all these systems, just chopping and dropping them. But where these lilies came up before the Comfrey, this particular plant was just a couple vertical shoots straight up, nothing else around it. So I wanted to cut back and release light for the Comfrey and have it grow and respond back. And look at the response, just incredible response. That plant is so healthy and large now. It's really, really responded well. I do like these daylilies because these are fully edible. So these seed pods taste kind of like a spicy bean. They got a really strong aftertaste when you can eat the flowers. They're more of a good companion for in a salad or something like that. But then they're also, beautiful flowers in the system. So I do like them. The greens of them as I showed before, we'll go look at that. The greens of them you can use to chop and drop. So I had this creeping Charlie terribly growing up and strangling out the grape. And these dog strangling vines, I pick these all the time and they just keep coming back. But this was a bed and a mass of weedy growth growing up and strangling the grapes out. And look at this chop and drop now. It's all decomposing, and the grapes have kind of a bit of enough of a breather that they could get up and really attach well onto the trellises. But this is what the chop and drop, super thick, well shaded soil leading to grapes, beautiful grapes. I opened up light and you can see that the grape is now using this bush, just a pure ornamental flower bush, as a trellis, growing up and grabbing on and continuing its way up. The strawberries that I planted, you can see the leaves are curling up. This is a good teachable moment. When the leaves curl up like this, what the plant's trying to do is reduce its transpiration of water to the atmosphere. So by curling up, it reduces the surface area of the leaf. At the same time, it reduces the amount of light that the leaf is taking in from the sun, so it prevents burnup. So this is the plant saying, hey, I'm not getting enough water. I'm going to do two things: reduce the heat on the leaf by curling up and reducing the sun soakage surface area, and also reducing the water evaporation area, the water transpiration area. So when you see wilted, curling up leaves like that, that's your sign to water. And whenever we water, we'll dig down into the wood chips and see. Now, it got rain last night, and it's actually wet down beneath there. So it got enough rain that I think it should respond fine. I'll watch it and see if see how it does. I don't want those to die. I want to baby these a little bit. You can see it sending out a runner. This is how strawberries runner. See this little elbow here? If this touches the soil, it'll root into it. So what I want to do is actually help that out. So I'm going to pull back. I want to get this elbow touching the soil, and then just, that's all I need. Super easy. And make a bunch new plants like that. You can see this one, this is all runners from this mother plant and here. So I'm starting to spread these out, and I'm going to have a huge patch. Just like my other strawberry patch. Some of the grasses are creeping in rhizomally. And the raspberries are doing well. You know, the whole system's doing well. Look at this, the grape has crawled all the way over here through these Egyptian walking onions. Trying to find more light. This is kind of nice too. I have a couple onion sets on top. This is what Egyptian walking onions will do. And you can see one here that fell over there. They'll grow these little bulb sets on the top of the walking onion. And they'll end up getting so heavy that they eventually fall down and touch the soil, just like that other one does, and root into it. I can rip them off. You can eat these. They end up quite a bit larger than this, but I can rip some off and just plant them. And these are good as like a little wall border, because they kind of sorry about the camera work here. They kind of mine themselves and grow straight up, so they're really nice as a border plant. I got that idea from Edible Acres on YouTube. His name's Sean, his wife Sasha. They're in New York, and they run a fantastic YouTube channel. If you haven't checked him out, Edible Acres on YouTube, go subscribe and watch some of his stuff. He's the one who got me into this. And changing my land and changing my whole community even. I Can't thank that guy enough. Great person. Alright, let's go take a look at the lower garden. See how it's coming along. There's the biochar kiln. So I have to come down here and pull the suckers off the tomatoes. Probably going to clean this up. I know I said last time I would clean this up a little bit, but I kind of like it nice and wild. Got some good growth here. So all the tomatoes really struggling in the heat. Pull these suckers off. They're the things that grow in the little armpits there. Pulling the suckers off will give you less fruit overall, but in more fruit in a smaller square foot. So it'll turn the tomato into a vine, a true vine, a straight up vertical vine, release light for the stuff underneath it. Like these zooks. Something blew this over. Let's see if I can fix them. Without ripping it. So, looking for suckers to pull. Here's a sucker right here. So see how it's growing out of that armpit? That will be a new vertical vine and it'll suck the energy out of the plant. So we want as few of those as possible, ideally 0. So you got another one down here. So we're gonna rip that off. But tomatoes are getting loaded up. And I'm just winding them around. So I'll come down here. I'm obviously not going to film myself fixing all of them. Put this cattle panel fencing so that I could help grow some of these melons straight up it. Pop over here. Okay, so we got the melons. They were sprawling out onto the grass, which I had planned on doing because it maximizes the garden space. However, what I didn't think of is I kind of want to keep this nice and mowed and tidy at the same time. So, good idea for one aspect, bad for another. So I decided I'd bring this panel fencing in, and then I can weave that through. So I'll do that later. That peach, I just love it. Peach is kicking butt. Quick, easy sucker to pull. Give that a little wrap. That's it. Quick, easy tomatoes. Zucchini's doing well. Alright. Let's go check out the pawpaws. I had 2 pawpaws and one of them fell off. So I'm down to 1 pawpaw. I think my last video I showed that there's only 1 pawpaw left. Oh, it's still there. Really hard to see. Am I filming it? There it is. Yeah. So it is still there. And what a beautifully ornamental plant this is. It's a nice little tropical look for somewhere that shouldn't have tropical plants. Yeah, just beautiful. Just love being down here in the stream, winding and rushing and babbling. The fallen cedar on my left here, I said I would get rid of it. It goes to show you can get so distracted. So much to do. You just got to do your best and get it all done. Sometimes life just doesn't give you the time you need for everything, and you got to prioritize. A little triage. We'll come up this way. And I'll show you an update of the wetlands project. So the wetlands project is a solution to the artesian well overflow that I had. It's a curse, but it should be a blessing. So I've got a bunch of rocks, a bunch of cardboards and wood chips, and decided I would sheet mulch it. And it ended up being my favorite spot to hang out with on my whole property. Found a great deal on a free swing at the end of someone's driveway who was moving. And I think I'll leave you. This video's long enough. I think I'm just gonna chill out and hang out here and give you a little taste of what it's like with a water feature on your property. The actual planted area, clover, blueberries, peaches, whole bunch of stuff, asparagus, haskap's, goji's, all the stuff that I have everywhere else. This whole bottom area was planted for free except for the 2 peaches. Very, very nice when you can start propagating your own plants. So thanks for anyone who stayed this long. Thanks for staying and watching. 20 bucks and a shovel will change your life. I'll tell you that. A lot of sweat and tears and hauling wood chips. All those wood chips that I hauled, you know, I don't get a dump truck to dump them off. I gotta go to the local arborist drop-off area and go grab it myself. Pitchfork and a recycling bucket in the trailer. So it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. And the idea is get the work done early. Get the wood chips down. Get the wood chips building soil life, preventing evaporation, and building resiliency in your system. Get the plant roots in the ground, sequestering carbon, feeding the soil microbiology with sugars, exudates, and just get it established. And then the idea is just to back off, let nature sort the rest out. Sometimes the best thing we can do is just sit on a chair and let nature do the work. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out Sean over at Edible Acres. He's got hundreds of videos for you to binge watch. He's got a great update on a 10-year-old food forest that he just released. His place is a paradise on earth, and there's no reason yours can't be too. But get out there and get busy changing your land, changing the planet, saving the planet.